Over the past 24 hours, the crypto market has been bouncing, anywhere from 5 to 20% for a lot of these projects. And we made this post on Bullrunners HQ Twitter, which you can follow through the link in the description below, back in September 28th of 2024, talking about Total 3 and the next breakout coming for the market. And as you can see, we are transitioning from orange to yellow when we are breaking out of this bull flag right here. And sure enough, we saw this breakout take place from $1 trillion upwards of 1.7 trillion. So about $700 billion came into the market. And now we pointed out on the right-hand side of the screen right here, a potential back test of the previous resistance, which basically was the high around the 15th of March of around $1.2 trillion. And so we're seeing that right now. The only area of concern here is this back test was a little bit deeper than we expected with this wick all the way down here to about $1 trillion, but that got bought up relatively quick. And now we're sitting at about $1.2 trillion. So looking back to the previous bull run, when we transitioned from orange to yellow, we saw this breakout right here, upwards of $240 billion in this back test several times with these wicks down to about 170 billion, which was the resistance from August until September of 2020. And then we blasted off all the way up here to about $700 billion before another major correction down to 450 billion. And then inevitably the peak before we transition from yellow to green. So right now, on Total 2 specifically, with this backtest that's taking place right here, if we don't see the markets further bleed to the downside, what we're going to discuss in this video determines whether we blast off or if we see our portfolios lose even more value. And if you stick all the way to the end of this video, I'm going to break down Total 3 and why this is looking incredibly bullish in my expectations over the next few weeks and next few months. So hang tight, you guys are going to absolutely love this, because when we're talking about Ripple and XRP and just looking specifically at the chart, comparing back to 2017, well, a lot of people are wondering, they're asking us, when is XRP going to make a move past its all-time high again? And look at what happened during that 2017 bull run. It took about 210 days from XRP peaking out, just shy of, 39, almost 40 cents to then break that high and rally up to the all-time high during the light green phase. So right now, if we were to measure to the first real breakout of XRP to $2.80, we're about 70 days into this consolidation phase right here. And after XRP transitioned from yellow in the Bitcoin stock to flow rainbow indicator to green, we coiled up in that symmetrical triangle and we rallied another 2,500%. So from this low right here with the tariff news, if XRP were to just do 500%, that would put XRP at roughly $10. Now, I've given you guys my XRP price prediction in previous videos, probably half a dozen times. And I think at the peak of this bull run, we can go up to $30. So anywhere between $5 and $30 for XRP. I would expect the peak of this market to happen sometime during the light green phase of the Bitcoin stock to flow rainbow indicator. Now, the real question is now a good time to accumulate XRP, or is now the time to sell? Now, as always, I'm not going to give you financial advice. Go consult your financial advisor. I'm not telling you to buy or sell anything. I'm just bringing up data. I'm bringing up the facts because these videos are purely for education, informational purposes only. So take this with it what you will. But when we bring up the relative strength index, the stochastic RSI, and the MACD on the daily chart, and put up the price chart here at the top of the screen, you guys can see that XRP has been trading inside of this bullish channel between resistance right here at the top of the screen, support right here several times. Even though we saw a wick well below it, we're holding this support right here at roughly $2.43. And if we look at the relative strength index on the daily, we can see that the RSI peaked out up here at 94.95 when the price was upwards of $2.90. And we are seeing lower highs, whereas we've seen a higher high by the 15th of January. So because the relative strength index is in a downtrend and currently it's sitting at 39 right now, whereas the price chart made a higher high, this is a bearish divergence. And a bearish divergence just simply means that momentum is shifting over from the bulls to the bears over time. And it doesn't mean that we're necessarily going to go down right away, because bearish divergences could take a while to play out, as I've shown you guys in previous videos when you subscribe to the channel. So what we look for is confluence on other indicators to give us an idea of the most likely scenario to happen next. Because when we look at the stochastic RSI, we are below 20 for both the K line, that's sitting at 15 in blue, and the D line is sitting at 12. So we witnessed a bullish cross all the way back here on the 7th of February when the K line crossed above the D line. And now we're waiting to see a confirmation of this bullish cross for both the K line and the D line to pass above 20. So the fact that we have been below 20 on the stochastic RSI for both the K line and the D line since the 27th of January is actually a great sign for me to consider accumulating more XRP, because the RSI is relatively oversold compared to the past, closer to 30. The stochastic RSI is below 20, getting ready to confirm the bullish cross by passing above 20 at some point. And the MACD as well is below the 0 line, and we could see momentum shifting if I zoom in here from bearish price action on the histogram. And now you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 light pink bars right here at the bottom of the screen, showing that momentum is slowly shifting over. And with the MACD line below the signal line, well below 0, I would want to see a bullish cross happen at some point for the MACD line in blue to cross the signal line simultaneously while the stochastic RSI crosses back above 20 and the relative strength index reverses back to the upside, back to this descending resistance. So as you guys can see on the MACD as well too, we see this descending resistance for a lower high while the price chart made a higher high. That is confluence of a bearish divergence. And here's an example of a bearish divergence on Bitcoin's price chart where you can see higher highs getting put in on the price chart right here all the way up to about $3,000, whereas the RSI peaked out at like 91 when Bitcoin's price was at 1,800. And so then the RSI couldn't reclaim that, kept putting in lower highs all the way until the RSI reset all the way down at like 28, 29 right here. And then the price had a major correction down here to about 1,800. And then the RSI saw a reversal back to the upside while the price saw a recovery, giving the RSI enough time to reset. So on the XRP price chart, this is actually a good sign because we've only seen one higher high. For example, in Bitcoin, we saw 1, 2, 3 higher highs before the price saw a major correction. And so with this second higher high right here at the all-time high, it's only the second lower high on the relative strength index for this bearish divergence. So I would expect the RSI to eventually make a bounce back up to this descending resistance, potentially get rejected from it, while the price inevitably sees some type of recovery to the upside to form another higher high sometime in the near future. And the stochastic RSI has reset below 20 as well too. So I would expect the stochastic RSI to see a bounce and also the MACD to see a bounce as well too, back to this descending resistance, while XRP breaks out with the rest of the market. Looking at total 3, which is the crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, it actually looks more similar to what happened last bull run by December of 2020 with the back test before the blast off took place. Whereas total 2 right here, you can see that we wicked well below the resistance of March of 2024. So looking at total 3's chart rather than total 2, you guys can see that we wicked off about $750-ish billion, which is right at where the resistance was by March of 2024. And so we're consolidating below the high of the last bull run. And if I were to zoom in here for you and bring up the stochastic RSI, the relative strength index, and the MACD on the daily, you can see that we formed a bullish cross below 20 on the stochastic RSI. The K line is at 23, the D line is at 15. When the D line passes above 20, it would confirm the bullish cross. Also, the relative strength index is sitting at 37. And even if we have another shakeout event to the downside below 30, eventually I would expect the RSI to bounce on the macro, because look at the MACD. We have been in a downtrend since we saw this bearish cross on roughly like the 8th of December all the way up here above the 0 line. We saw another bearish cross. And so we see momentum shifting on the histogram down here below 0. The MACD line is at negative 39 and the signal line is at negative 27. So when we see a bullish cross take place on the MACD line below 0 and that passes above the 0 line along with the RSI rebounding, the stochastic RSI passing above 20, even with another back test of this range right here, I would just expect the altcoin market to eventually make a recovery to the upside and to break the all-time high. Because do you think we came this far? Let me ask you guys this question right here. Do you think we came this far just to stop right here? All the way from $300 billion at a bear market bottom, rallying all the way up, 300% back to the previous high, just to stop at the previous high? I don't think that's the case. I think this is a coordinated shakeout right here by massive institutions, shaking out the weak hands, similar to what happened all the way back here in August of 2024, where we see these consolidation periods take place of lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, until inevitably we see massive liquidity come in relatively quick. So we're just seeing that right now. We're seeing lower highs, we're seeing lower lows. In my opinion, if we hold this support, the next breakout that takes place is going to be rapid, it's going to be sudden, and it's going to directly affect very specific altcoins. And if you're waiting to buy in after that breakout takes place, you may be too late. So do not be like 99% of retail that buys that breakout and then has to go through the next consolidation, the next sell-off phase in the market. Because on the next breakout, the risk of us going into a bear market after that increases. We don't know how many more of these pumps we have left in the market. We've already seen two major ones. The first real major one was March of 2024. The next major one we just went through by December of 2024. So we could be seeing the final pump in the market before the major bear market takes place. And there's plenty of opportunity to make money in these markets if you know exactly where to look.